And then relax the head, forehead, and face, and relax your shoulders. And relax your arms. Relax your chest. And stomach. And relax your legs. Just focus your legs and relax it. And focus your posture. You are sitting. And adjust. You may adjust your posture in relaxed way. For meditation, we need a relaxation of the body. Now this whole body is relaxed, and take deep breath. Slowly let go. Be relaxed. Now we're going to meditate on dukkha. We're going to meditate on dukkha. It means suffering or unsatisfactoriness. We're going to understand what is the suffering, what is the unsatisfactoriness, how do we experience it, and how do we face to it, how it is come to our life. This is called insight meditation, Vipassana. Vipassana means thinking about these kind of things to understand as it is. It really it is the reality and true nature of this truth. You have ever faced to this suffering, and whatever you're going to face and experience. First, you may try to understand through your experiences so far what is suffering. If you confused about this, you can follow this guided to understand suffering. The birth is suffering. We face to this whole kind of suffering because of birth. Are we free from birth, or we aging is suffering? Are we free from aging? Illness is suffering. And we can see the world now, whole world is ill and sick. Not only now, it is always like this. Just think about the hospitals in United States and other countries. And what about the rehabilitation centers? The illness, are we free from it? Illness is suffering. And death is suffering too. We cannot escape the death. No matter how loud to our life, how bound to our loved ones, things, but have to leave them. Then suffering of separation from loved ones and suffering of associate, having a company with not loved ones, not happen whatever what we want is suffering too. By following these guidelines, and you may develop your understanding of this reality. Open your mind to this true nature to understand as it is. We do have so many temporary solutions for this suffering, but if it is enough to be satisfied about life, but those temporary solutions also get changed. and suffering arises again. It is burnt with life. Now we can compare with this our experience and understanding to make much clear by thinking our parents, what have they experienced in their life, and our grandparents. Has, have they also faced to suffering of birth, suffering of aging, suffering of illness, suffering of death, separation from loved ones, association unloved ones, suffering of not getting what they want, sorrowing, pain, crying, lamenting, distress, displeasure, despair, and then think about your brothers and sisters and your own children, and just look at this world, what we experience. Why we suffer? Because of craving, desire, attachment, anger, hate, delusion, envy, enmity, then we attach to ourselves and we attach to all other things, other ones and other things in the world. But I myself not belong to me. This what I call I is impermanent, full of suffering and vanishing, disappearing. Whatever I love, attach, desire, want, they're also impermanent, subject to suffering and disappearing. Why we suffer? Because of attachment, craving, desire. Why we can't be satisfied permanently? Because we already attached to impermanent things and we attach to full of suffering things and we attach to things what will disappear, then we're not satisfied. Just think and look at our dirty minds, crazy minds, full of indulgence, full of craving, desire, hate, anger, jealous, envy, hate, delusion, ignorance. How could we be happy permanently? How could we release suffering and get freedom from suffering? In our pride, conceit, what about the things make life easy and beautiful? Kindness, compassion, altruistic joy and equanimity? What about the happiness come through them? What about the happiness come without attachment or releasing desire and craving and hate? The happiness come without hate and happiness come without ignorance, understanding, with perfect knowledge of the reality. I myself already stuck in this suffering, bound by this suffering and bound to this suffering, unsatisfactoriness. My parents, grandparents, and those old generations and this generations, and up to me, the generation to generation, we all face to these things, to this suffering, to this misery. We all attach to craving, desire, hate, ignorance, pride, conceit, and we try to be happy with these things by attaching this impermanent body, myself, and by being attached to all impermanence, other ones. And how could be happy and free, get free from suffering? We born with by crying and we die with crying and we live with crying too, but rarely get some happiness with very uh, after more of efforts. The whole life we spend to be happy, to be satisfied. The suffer, the this is the suffering. Then what is the release from suffering, free from suffering? What is that happiness? It is the happiness, happiness of liberation, freedom, releasing that very craving, attachment, hate, and ignorance. Okay, now I ring the bell. You slowly open your eyes. Okay. Do you have any things to share about this meditation? How did you feel it? We're going to discuss today and talk actually. If not, this teaching going to a little bit unpleasant. Okay, keep pain in the knees. Okay, okay, that's a good thing. Yeah, we're going to talk today because this teaching we need a lot of talks. And keep your microphone on, okay? Okay. When you're ready. Did you read the sutta? You did. Who didn't? Okay. Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to explain. Mm. But it's better if you could read before the sutta. Okay. It doesn't matter. Let's see. You can read now. This is the sutta called Vedal Mahavedalla. Sutta Mahavedalla. Vedalla means question and answering. That's the category of the teachings of Buddha. Vedalla means question and answering category of the collection of teaching. We had this venerable Arahant Sariputta and Maha Kotthita. They have several conversation discussion about teaching suttas. We learned some of them before, if you remember. This Venerable Kotthita and Sariputta. They both are arahants. Their discussion is wonderful discussions, not like our discussions. What do you talk about when you get together? What do you talk when someone get together with your friend? You're talking about to understand Dhamma or to complain to the government or, or talking about the politics or talking about Corona, COVID. That's what we do. We are ordinary people. We're talking about our family problems, family things. We're talking about our friends, the vehicles, the shopping, supermarkets, and shopping's going shopping, right? The women's like going shopping to get the yeah. Then what we talk about mostly when we get together, or blame to someone, or complain someone, get angry. We talk about desiring things. Um, It's not very, it's, it's not very beneficial things we talk, but we don't get nothing actually by talking what we talk. Usually, usually, but some people keep talking with good things. These arahants, look at their conversation. What they talk about? They are talking very ultimate, excellent. They talk about wisdom. They talk about knowledge. They talk about freedom, liberation, supreme things. They talk about supreme, not a mundane, super mundane thing. That's why when we learn these kind of things, it helps us to increase our wisdom, understanding, knowledge. Okay. Mm. Actually, they had discussions for us. Do you think the Kotthita, Venerable Mahakotthita, he doesn't know what he asking? Actually, he does, because he's Arahant. He asking this kind of things because he's already have this knowledge. But he won't, I think they have become happy by talking about those kind of things. I think especially they want to teach us, and they know in future we be going to learn this kind of things. That's their compassion. Look at that. Their compassion for us. And they talk about this teaching. Okay, then once mm, Buddha was living in the Jetavana monastery this moment. Then Mahakotthita, Venerable Mahakotthita Arahant, after his evening meditation, and he arose from the seat and went to the Sariputta, and and he bowed to Sariputta, respected, and sat to one side and asked a question. Actually, they had some cordial greetings exchanged themselves. After their conversation, the cordial conversation, then Mahakotthita, Venerable Mahakotthita Arahant, Mahakotthita asked Venerable Sariputta, "Dear Venerable Sir, I have heard that word called Duppanyo, Duppanyo. What does this mean, Duppanyo? In Pali term, Duppanyo means foolish, or Duppanyo means non-wise, the person who is not wise. The person who is not wise or who is foolish. Foolish is not the word to happy to hear, right? We don't want to be foolish, but we already foolish. When we learn this, we can understand what is that. Okay, what's Duppanyo? Then when Mahakoti is asking, Duppanyo, what is the foolish or non-wise? We call Duppanyo, Duppanyo. What is that? Then Sariputta says, and also he asking how, what's the reasons when someone become unwise, become foolish? What are the reasons to be foolish? Then Sariputta says, okay, Nappajanati, Nappajanati. Why someone become foolish or not wise? Because he does not know. He doesn't know. When someone doesn't know and he is not wise, when someone doesn't know and he become foolish, doesn't know what he doesn't know. Okay, now we're going to talk about this. What he doesn't know, idang dukkhanti nappajanat. He doesn't know this is suffering. He doesn't know this is unsatisfactoriness. Okay, then we meditated today on suffering, to understand suffering, right? What did you understand? What did you understand? suffering. What do you think about suffering actually? Michael, you're going to discuss. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Don't we have happiness? You never feel happy? Yeah, 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 yeah. That right. Mm, right. Right. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, wisdom. You all welcome to share your knowledge and wisdom. Um, yeah. Yeah, actually, Buddha said, there is a suffering. Also, there is a happiness too. And also, there is something else very important thing. And there is the uh, Nissarana, uh, the freedom. There's a freedom too. There's a suffering, and also there's a happiness. But we have to understand what is suffering, what is happiness. What's the really suffering is, and what is the happiness really is. When we understand that, and we understand what we call happy, it is not the really happy. It is the things when we suffer, we reduce suffering, or we compress, we press suffering to lower and to get the. For example, when we hungry, that's the suffering. Then we eat something. Then we happy. What do you think? Happiness is already there, or hungry is already there? Hungry is already there. It exists. To get rid of that suffering, and we work, hard work. Your whole life you spend to work, earn money. For what? To to get rid of your hunger. Then you attach to not to suffering. You don't pay attention to suffering what you experience, and you pay attention and you get attached to. After a lot of works and effort, you earn money and you get something to eat. Then you attach to that taste. But hungry, you don't care. Attached to taste, and you think you're happy, but it is not. The reality is hungry. Then we have in Sri Lanka word for that hungry is we call Badagini. Badagini. Bada means stomach. Gini means fire. What we say hungry. What's the literal meaning of hungry, Michael? Yeah. Yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, in Sri Lanka, in the Sri Lanka, Sinhala word for hungry is Badagini. Bada means stomach, Gini means fire. When the fire arises in the stomach, then we put something to release that fire. Then in the morning we release it, and when we get noon, the daytime, the fire rise again. Then we have to put again something into it to water to get to water to uh, release that pain. Thirst is the same thing. Thirst is the same thing. Then we daytime we take lunch and we release that fire in the daytime. What about night? The fire arise again. And you are okay. Actually, you are very lucky. You are very lucky, fortunate ones. You have food to satisfy to release your pain of the stomach. What about the poor people in the world? Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's just the pain. That's the suffering. Yeah, it's suffer. It doesn't matter we have food, but if you have decided this kind of certain food and you take more and you getting sick, you become you getting sick, you get diabetes, you become big. When you have much food, you become big. If you don't have food and they become thin, it's what's that called? Yeah, it's the when we have much food, we become sick. When we do not have enough food, we become sick too. But suffering is already here. We have to understand this kind of things. This happiness is not having food. It's not real happiness. It's not real happiness. Then don't live to have. Don't live to eat. Oh yeah, Lois, please go ahead. Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Oh, the actual, yeah, it's called Dupanya. Panya means wisdom, knowledge. Dupanya means lack of wisdom or lack of knowledge, or not perfect, not clear, not good. That's the du. Yeah, Dupanya. Yeah, du. Yeah, do means the prefix prefix. Yes, to make the give the opposite meaning. Panya is the wisdom. Dupanya means not good wisdom or lack of wisdom. Balang means strength. Dubbalang, right? Dubbalang means the weak, not strength. Yes, and that's the most important thing. This understanding, this knowledge. This is the first noble. This is the first noble truth, right? Dukkha. Buddha once, Buddha once uh, taught bhikkhus, and Buddha said once, and Buddha was living in the Varanasi. And in the Varanasi, mm, then Buddha addressed monks and said, Bhikkhus, I became Arahant because of the understanding this dukkha, suffering, unsatisfactoriness. My knowledge about this suffering is um, it's called I establishing this knowledge, advocating, clarifying, analyzing, and revealing about this knowledge, about this suffering and cause of suffering, end of suffering, and path to the end of suffering. When I realized this kind of suffering, the truths in this world, no one in this human world has realized these things. Even not any one of the heavenly realms, including Brahmas, Devas, and Maras, and no one in this whole universe have understood dukkha, suffering. My knowledge about this is worth very advocating, establishing, clarifying, analyzing, and revealing uh, about suffering, origin of suffering, end of suffering, and the path to the end of suffering. Then Buddha keeps saying this, and Buddha get a back pain. And Buddha invited to the Sariputta, Sariputta, please continue this teaching. I'm going to take a little to to be relaxed. And Buddha arose the seat and left to get rest. Then Sariputta keep continue teaching. This is the same teaching, the same Sariputta keep teaching. What is the suffering? What is the origin of suffering? It is not come in this sutta what we're talking about today, Vedalla. It's a very brief explanation. This is the analyzing of that suffering in this. It is called Satya Vibhanga Sutta, analyzing of truth. Mm, mhm. Yes, we do. We do. Yeah, we do. Actually, not only we, you also have to do this verses. And this meaning of these verses are amazing. And then Buddha asks us to not only food. When we having food, we have to contemplate these things before we having food. And when we having clothes, clothes, especially you guys, because you guys have so much desire for clothes, just a piece of clothes, you are going to die for it. When you having that piece of clothes, you become pride. I'm the best and beautiful one, no one else. You develop your pride. When one having some beautiful dresses, when you see that, wow, look at this, you become jealous about that. Look at that, the piece of clothes can do so many things. And sometimes you worry and suffering because you don't have enough. But this is a piece of clothes. We have to contemplate something about when we having these things. Also, when we having houses, shelters, okay. You also have to contemplate before when you're using your house, your place. Your, mm, what Buddha mentioned to monks to do? I don't know exactly meaning of the Mahayana tradition, what they chanting. Maybe it could be the same meaning. And in the Theravada, yeah, in the Theravada tradition, we say Patisanka yoniso pindapatam patisevami. I take this food with wisely. I take this food, contemplate in this. Never davai. I don't take this food for my uh davaya, my what's called to to get strong. Maybe um na davaya na madaya. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me. I'm going to give very the, the brief meaning of this. I take this food for reduce my hunger, not for get build the body, not for mundane, not to save body, not decorate the body, face, so arms, so not a strength, no power. I just take this food to release my hunger and get enough power to practice, to live, to live. It doesn't mean exactly for the satisfy my desire for the food. It doesn't mean that. We not take food to satisfy my desire or craving for food. I take food for food to live and get rid of hungry, pain, and the pain I had, and the pain I'm going to get rid of the pain. What we going to I'm going to have if I don't have food. I'm going to release the both uh, pain of hungry past and future. I'm take this food to release hungry and to get enough power to live and practice. That's the one way. Another way, and we consider when we having this food is when we're going to bite and we're going to swallow, it's become very dirty, unpleasant, ugly. We can't the food what we have bite. We have a lot of craving and desire for food, right? Just just imagine we take some food and put into mouth and keep biting several times and take it back to your palm and look at it. How do you feel? The same food you had a lot of craving and desire. Do you think it is pleasant? Can you take it back to your mouth? It is it is disgusting. It is not pleasant. It is disgusting. But I was dying to this food with so much craving and desire. After having a several bite, it's become unpleasant. That's the reality. It's not nothing to attach to it or craving for it. That's the reality. And it is going to stomach. It's going to stomach getting worse after digested. After digested, a few hours later, what's going to happen? You're going to release it. The same food. It's pleasant. That's what we have craving so much. And then Buddha asked him to contemplate. This is repulsive. This is repulsive, decaying. This food decaying, this body decaying. This food repulsive, this body repulsive too. That kind of practice letting us to release craving and attachment for these kind of things. And we use food wisely. We develop wisdom having food, not get lose the wisdom by having food. The same thing when we have in clothes, and we consider I wear these clothes not for decoration. You have a different kind of passions, very beautiful, but I have just a piece of clothes. Monks like a field, a fatty field. It's a piece of several pieces of clothes and joined together, and we wearing it. But you guys have different passions, colors, lot of passions. You see, whole world following and chasing those kind of passions. They can't wait coming until coming to new passion, and that's a bit. But this piece of clothes is getting decay and getting worn out, fading away, fading away. But we having this kind of piece of clothes, we develop pride, and we condemn other people who doesn't have it, and you fight each other about this piece of clothes. Women fight with husband because of this piece of clothes. I want a new things. I want a new things. Get me some. Buy me some. Dupanya. Dupanya. The right. That's Dupanya. That. Ah, right, right. That's true. Yeah, I will send it to you. Also, the same thing when we have in houses for living. Just we live in. Oh, another thing we have in the dresses for get protection from the heat, from the wind, from the mosquitoes and some flies, get flies for protection, and they cover the private parts to cover the private parts. That's why we have in clothes. Yeah, yeah. Mm. But some new passions not support enough to cover those kind of private parts. But that's the passion, and we have the craving for this. Then what about the houses we having and we using? It is we using to get protection from the wind and heat, and we get some houses we live in the houses for get protection from the flies, mosquitoes, right? But when someone without wisdom, when we use it, they're getting attached to their house and they fight for it. They, there's some families where they have a land and house. When they get attached, they fight with parents. They fight with uh, their own brothers and sisters and get angry, get become mad and hate each other, kill each other because of this is house, but we don't having them forever. Just we having it for live. Actually, we need houses for living, but we use houses to live, not uh, to attach, to get just protect, live safely. That what the Buddha mentioned when we haven't used this, we have to contemplate in this way, right? What do you think? And yeah, Margaret, did you get it? Hello? No, Johanna, right? Yeah. Mm-mm. Right. End of the sutta is going to deep of understanding. Actually, it is about the yes, it's about the free, completely free from all kind of things. You read the sutta 3 times. You told me, right? We are going to right. Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, we just started it. Let me finish this first one. What Sariputta explained to what is unwise or dukkanya. Dukkanya is not knowing suffering and not knowing origin of suffering. You know what is the origin of suffering? Origin means it's about craving, attachment. This is the cause and reason for the suffering, right? Then what is that? What how it is explained? We have craving. There's a 3 types of craving. Attachment. It's an attachment to the sensual realm. The sensual realm, the sense we experience through the sense basis. This whole world, actually, whatever we live today, we see through the eyes, we hear through the ears, and we smell through the nose, and we taste, we touch us things, and we have desire for this. This is the first craving for sensual pleasure, and we live for it, we die for it, and we spend whole life for it, for this pleasure. This is the first craving of this is the reason of suffering. This is the cause of suffering, origin of suffering. That's the one thing. Another thing is the craving for existence. Craving for existence. We have craving live forever somewhere in heaven. We won't live happily without dying. We want to enjoy all the pleasures, all the happiness, what we desire, what we attached. We want to keep them forever, not to lose. That is the craving for existence. Another thing is the third one is the craving for non existence and no more, just only this life, no more births, no more existence, and just enjoy this life. That's all. That's another type of craving. This all kind of craving is the cause of suffering, reason of suffering. This craving and attachment is keep continuation of the suffering, unsatisfactoriness. That's the second one. When someone know this, he become wise. Third one is the end of suffering, nirodha. Nirodha, such as the truth of cessation. What is the end of suffering? Then we have craving to this, to that. Tatra tatrabhinandini. We attach to this and attach to that. We desire to this and desire to that. Whatever we experience, we desire it, we attached it. If not, we hate the same thing. Attachment and hate is the same thing. And that's what we do. If we attach, if not, we hate. Then the end of craving, end of hate, ignorance, is the cessation of suffering. How it is called abandoned, that very craving, without remained less, without remained less. It's called yotasayev tanhaya asesa viraga nirodho, the cessation of that craving without remaining is the end of suffering. Yotasaya tanhaya asesa viraga nirodha chagu, giving up, letting go, abandoned, patinisago, release, mutti, freed from that craving, analayo, not clinging to it. This is the end of craving, cessation. Um, and this, if someone know this, he become wise. If someone doesn't know this, he become foolish, not wise. Duppanya. Keep in your mind that word, duppanya. And then the finally the path to the end of suffering. How we make the end of these sufferings? How could we make end? There's a path to that end of suffering. It is called Eight Noble Path. Anyone remember that? Eight Noble Path. Anyone remember that? Okay, I'm going to explain that. This, uh, this right view, right intention, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right concentration, and uh, right mindfulness, right concentration. These eight paths has categorized to three practices. Morality. Morality is the right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And then concentration, samadhi. Samadhi is the right effort. It's about details, right? What is effort? Making effort not to do what is bad. Whatever have done bad things and making effort not to do it again. Whatever not having done yet bad things and making effort not to do it. And making effort to do whatever have not done yet. And making the effort to continue whatever keep doing a good things. And then the right concentration, right mindfulness. It's about four foundation of mindfulness and concentration, samadhi. This is called samadhi. And the third, panya. Panya is wisdom. It is about right understanding. What about the right understanding? Right understanding rightly, correctly, perfectly about suffering, unsatisfactoriness, and origin of it, and end of it, and the path to the end of it. And in the right intention, right thoughts, this belong to wisdom. It is the right thought, the renunciation. If someone has the idea about renunciation from this attachment to sensual pleasures, and this is called nekkamma, sankappa, and then avihimsa, the intention not to hurt anyone, not to harm, and then abhyapada, the right intention and idea, thoughts to uh, not hate to anyone. And this is called wisdom. Sila, morality, samadhi, concentration, panya, wisdom. Practicing these things is uh, this is called wise. This is the wise. Okay. This is the first answer of the Sariputta. Then the Mahapoddita asks, what is duppanya? What is foolish? And who doesn't know? This Four Noble Truth, he is foolish and unwise. And who is wise? Panyavanto, Panyavanto. What does that mean? Who is wise? And he is the knower of these Four Noble Truths. Okay, and he is wise. Now we go into second question, okay? Mm, okay. Then Mahakotita asking, what is Vijnana? Vijnanam Vijnanantyauso uchati. Venerable sir, it is called consciousness, consciousness. What is the consciousness? Then Sariputta says, Vijanati, Vijanati, cognize, cognize, that is the consciousness. What the consciousness do? Consciousness do cognizing, right? Vijana, cognizing, knowing. That what consciousness do. Consciousness get to know. And what then Sariputta explained, what they cognize, what know. The consciousness know and cognize this is happy and this is not happy, not happy, suffering. And this is neither happy nor non-happy, neither pleasant nor non-pleasant. This is what consciousness do. Consciousness cognize and get to know the happiness, suffering, and neutral. That knowledge comes to consciousness. Okay. Then Mahakotita asking again, Venerable Sariputta, that panya, wisdom, and this consciousness is lined together or exist together or separate? Consciousness and wisdom, panya, wisdom, vijnana, consciousness, mixed together or stay together or separately. Then Sariputta says, these both, panya and vijnana, panya and vijnana, panya, wisdom, vijnana, consciousness, these are together, not separate. Okay, these live together, stay together, not separated. Sorry. And then it is not able to explain them separately. It's not able to keep them separately. They always stay together, combined together, mixed together. There are no separation of them. Then Sariputta saying again that wisdom supposed to develop, but the consciousness supposed to understood, supposed to understand. Okay, now it's come to a little deeper of this conversation. Panya, wisdom, supposed to develop. It's have to practice to make it develop. Actually, that panya is about the practice morality, practice concentration, and practice wisdom. Then panya keep growing. But the consciousness, it is something to realize, to understand as it is. Okay, what is the consciousness? Actually, once Buddha said consciousness is like a illusion, uh, consciousness like a illusion, like a magician. It's like a magic magician illusion. To we have to understand this consciousness. What is this consciousness? It's eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. And we have to understand what that really is, what this consciousness, what that really means, what that really does. The consciousness is what consciousness does? Cognize. Cognize. What cognize? This is suffering. This is happy. This is neutral. But that consciousness supposed to be understood, wisdom supposed to be developed. Then Sariputta said. And then again, the Kotthita asking, we have another 4 minutes, okay? I'm going to explain a little bit because this is a long sutta. And it is called Vedana, Vedana. What is the Vedana? Vedana means feeling. It is called feeling, feeling. What is the feeling? Then Sariputta says, Vedetiti, Vedetiti. It is, uh, what is feel? What is feel? It is called feeling. And what feels? Feel happiness, feel suffering, and feel neutral. Feeling of happiness, what we feel, it could be happy. We feel it could be suffering, pain, and we feel not happy, not suffering, it's neutral. This is called feeling. Okay, feeling, Vedana. Vedana means feeling. What feel? Happiness, suffering, and neutral. Okay, we have all type of meditation. We have meditation on feeling, right? Vedana Vipassana, contemplation on feeling. That's the one of the foundation of mindfulness. They have a very details. Okay, you see, when we have so much attachment to the feelings, what we had before, we have craving and attachment and desire, the feeling we had. Then we attach to them, we memorize them, and we hang out in the past. We indulge to the past. Some feeling of the past we hate. We hate, we don't like, and we hate to that past experience of feeling. And we desire for feeling now we have, or we hate the feeling we now have, or we have desire to feeling what we're going to have, and we will have hate, we will hate to feeling what we're going to have. This, but all kind of feeling is impermanent. It doesn't mean that feeling is happy, suffering, or neutral. It's recognized by consciousness, and then this feeling. Then Mahakotthita asking again, Venerable Sariputta, Sanya Sanyati Uchati. What is the perception? It is called perception, perception. What is the perception? Then Sariputta says, what is perceive? What is perceive? It is perception. And what we perceive this is blue, this is yellow, this is red, and this is white, and we perceive these things. Here mention just the colors. That what the sanya. What does mean sanya means? What sanya does? Perceive. Perceive white, red, blue, green, yellow. Or we perceive good, bad, right, wrong, and also we perceive beautiful, ugly, and we perceive the knowledge we have it so far, the knowledge, our memories. This is called perception. And we had attachment to the perception, some kind of perception, and also we hate to some kind of perception, to some memories, to some memories. uh, what we perceive. And then Mahakotita asking again, and this is the last question I'm going to explain for today. Mahakotita asking again, okay, that a feeling, that perception, and that consciousness all live all together, stay all together with mix or separate. Can you explain it is as mixed things or separated things? Then Sariputta says it is not separated. It is mixed. It is mixed altogether. It's not able to separate. Whatever we feel and we perceive it. Whatever we perceive and we know it. Okay, Sariputta explained. Whatever we feel, we perceive it. Whatever we perceive, we know we know it. Okay, then they are all together mixed, not able to separate. Okay, I think it's enough for today. Hello. Yeah. Here, Sariputta says the perceive is the perceive the colors. This is blue. This is yellow. This is red and white. And we perceive it's kind of knowledge. But we separately understand this is blue, this is red, this is yellow. And also the sanya. Sanya is the perception. What is we perceive? I don't know what exactly that means. Literally means that perceive. Michael can explain it. But the sanya is the same thing, I think. The sanya is the kind of understanding things as white or black or red or green or yellow, or the things also the sanya also means the our memories, our what we have known so far. Mm, it could be related to the past memories or even the memories now we have and the memories we imagine in the future. And this is how perception has explained uh, sanya. It is one of the aggregate of the five. It's one of five aggregates, sanya. Mm, I will say it a little bit, and please try to find out a little bit about it. That's what I can explain now. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. That's here. Okay, look at this. What we feel and we conceive it. All the feelings we have that memory of that feeling. It is the perception. What feel it perceive. And what perceive here and that known by consciousness. It is very complicated things were not easy to understand, right? Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I think we maybe it could be so many places to explain what is perception sanya. I will look at for next week to get some more details about it. Okay, and then the most important thing is this consciousness, perception, and feeling all together, and panya all together. They're not separate. And Sariputta giving a simile to understand this. Um, and we're going to learn it next week. Okay. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to any other question? No. Okay. No more question. Okay. You looks like you satisfied and you already something attained to realize. That's good. Let's let's transfer merits to the departed ones and to the ghost and to the gods by practicing meditation and the discussion Dhamma is the meritorious thing, and learning Dhamma is a meritorious thing, and it is also the one of power to the enlightenment. Mm. And also it is the one of a faculty. It's called uh, Saddha, Sila, Sutta, Chaga, Panya. This all equal to the enlightenment. Saddha is the devotion, Sila, morality, Sutta, learning, Chaga, giving up, practicing generosity, giving, Panya, wisdom. Practicing these all kind of things is to path to the enlightenment. And these all are powerful things. This is called Panchabala, five powers, also five faculties. These all have to develop. Then learning these kind of things is giving us some kind of wisdom. It's giving us wisdom. It's develop our understanding. It's develop our thinking, way of thinking to understanding. When we have this kind of learning and studying, no one can uh, misguide us. No one can mislead us to wrong path, to wrong way, because we already realize ourselves something what is this kind of knowledge given kind of light, mm, and that light dispel that kind of darkness, ignorance, and that's how we develop wisdom. Then this profound, but we we should learn slowly, little by little. Then we grow with it. By learning this, learning and practicing meditation, learning Dhamma, these all meritorious actions, and we had these merits. We're going to share these merits with departed one, ghost, gods. May they all share these merits. By sharing these merits, may they all be born in the happy realm. By the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, by the power of these merits, may you all be happy, live long happily and peacefully, and health with health, and may we all be able to attain to enlightenment. Akasatta Chubummatta Deva Naga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Sasana. Akasatta Chubummatta Deva Naga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Desanam. Akasatta Chubummatta Deva Naga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Mang Parang. Sabbhitiyo vivajjantu sabba rogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi dīgāyuko bhava. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang. Rakkantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang. Rakkantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Thank you. Thank, thank you. See you next week. Okay, bye bye.